Welcome, friend. This guided practice is for helping you to release anger. We'll go through a series of different techniques to help you to first connect with your body and then to attune to the source of your anger. And then we'll get into some releasing. So before we get started, just make sure that you are in a comfortable and private space where you can work through these practices without being disturbed. And ideally, you're in a place where you can make some noise and anybody else who's in the house is aware that you're making those noises and letting some anger out. Or you're in a place where they won't hear you. So it may make sense to just pause the recording and just let them know that, hey, I'm just going to go through some anger release work and I'll try to be quiet, but if there's loud noises, that's why. And hopefully they'll be understanding. So before we get started, I'll invite you to grab a pillow and just place it beside you somewhere where you can access it later in the session. So I'll invite you to get started by taking a seat or lying down somewhere comfortable where you can spend the next 30 minutes or so. And as you get settled, I'll invite you just to move around just a little bit to help your body to relax, letting out any movement, any tension. Just getting into the body here. And we'll go through a body scan exercise here. So starting by bringing our awareness to the muscles around the forehead and the eyes. And just taking a moment to allow these muscles to relax. Letting them soften. Shifting to the tongue and the jaw, becoming aware of any tension you might be holding, and allowing the tongue and the jaw to relax. From here, inviting you to bring the awareness to the entire face, and just observing how you can relax your whole face at once while being aware of it. From here, tuning in with the breath. So I'll invite you to breathe through your nose as we get started. And just breathing gently here. Observing the breath, perhaps noticing the feeling of the air flowing through your nostrils or through the back of the throat. And inviting in this quality of presence, just being present with one thing at a time. Continuing to invite the body to relax. From here, inviting you to place a hand over your belly and starting to deepen the breath into the belly, thereby raising the hand on each inhale. Or if you're sitting, then just expanding the hand outward. And as we deepen the breath, we notice how we can fill our whole belly with air. And then noticing how each exhale is an opportunity to relax. And just staying with this rhythm. Like waves of the ocean, the breath enters and leaves the body. In and out. And I'll invite you to let out a sigh on your next exhale. Just just gently. You can do that once more. Just noticing any relaxation that brings. And continuing to observe the physical body. We're working to get our awareness out of our head, out of our thinking mind that's often disconnected from the sensations in the body, and to connect with those sensations. So I'll invite you to tune in with the sensations in your arms, just to feel any vibrations, any heat or cold, or if you're wearing a long shirt, feeling the connection between that shirt and your skin. So now we're going to get into looking at the root of the anger that you might be feeling or holding. And I'll invite you to start by saying the prompt out loud, I feel anger towards, and just seeing what comes up, saying the first thing, and doing this out loud, and just repeating this prompt over and over for about 2 minutes. So it might sound like, I feel anger towards my dog. I feel anger towards myself. I feel anger towards the world. Whatever's coming up is valid. I'll invite you to get started now. And if you get stuck, just keep going. Just keep repeating, I feel anger towards. And just seeing what arises. You might say the same thing over and over again. We're just probing the subconscious and the body. Seeing what's there. So now I'll invite you to pause and take a moment to tune in with any sensations of anger that you might be feeling in your body. Just to witness what's there, what you feel. There might be some heat or tightness in the jaw. There might be a heat or some energy moving in the solar plexus where we're connected to our sense of power. Or you might feel something in the gut. Each of our bodies is different. So just inviting you to tune in here and just listen, observe any feelings of anger. From here, I'll give you another prompt, which is I feel angry because. So whereas before we were prompting the situation or person that we feel angry towards, now we're getting into why we feel angry. So you might say something like, I feel angry because I was abandoned, or I feel angry because my parents don't seem to care about me as much as I want them to. Or I feel angry because life has been so hard lately. And again, just witnessing, just saying the first thing that comes up without hesitating or holding back. I'll invite you to say this prompt now. I feel angry because. So I'll invite you to pause once again and tune in with any sensations, any feelings of anger in your body. Just listening to what's there. What does it feel like to have anger? So now we're going to get started with some releasing. So what I'll invite you to do is grab the pillow that you had placed beside you earlier and to hold it in your lap with both hands, one on each side. And what you can do is start to squeeze the pillow. And I'll invite you to pulse the squeeze. So holding for a second or two and letting go. Holding again and letting go. And each time we hold, we're squeezing, we're feeling into some of our anger. We're starting to give it an opportunity to express itself. And while we do this, continuing to stay with this breath in and out through the nose. These nice deep breaths. And squeezing the pillow. Squeeze and let go. Squeeze, let go. And as you continue with this pattern, you can start to notice that it feels good to squeeze and be with the anger, but it also feels good to relax, to let the body rest. And our number one tool for helping to create this pause is staying with our breath. It's often when we get really overwhelmed that we're not breathing properly. And that's sometimes when our anger can get the most of us. It's when we're not paying attention to our breath. We tend to hold the breath, our blood pressure rises. But when we breathe and stay present with the anger, it can be helpful to really attune to the anger that's actually there, rather than getting overwhelmed by it. So what I'll invite you to do now is, with eyes closed, tuning in with the face of somebody who you feel anger towards. And if there isn't a person you feel anger towards, then bringing to mind a situation. Whatever it is that's making you angry that came up earlier. And continuing to squeeze the pillow as you visualize this person or situation. And what we're doing here, what I'll invite is controlled release of the anger. And what you'll notice often is you can tell when the anger has been given what it needs when you're really listening to the body. Because what the anger wants is to be heard, to be expressed, to free its energy. And that energy is limited. It is finite. We can't be angry forever. So you might be noticing as you visualize this person or situation that you're really starting to feel angry. And what I'll invite here is just to start to grunt or to let out a tone like, ugh, or ah. Any kind of vocal tone or vocalization that speaks to the anger or speaks for the anger. Now I'll invite you to just pause and come back to the breath for a few moments here. Just breathing into the low belly, these nice deep breaths, in and out through the nose. And we're just coming back into a groundedness here, a grounded space for a moment. Just to make sure we're not getting overwhelmed by the anger. We're taking our time and being gentle with ourselves. And when you feel ready, you can return to either squeezing or pulsing your squeeze of the pillow and doing some more grunting, like whatever noise feels right to express the anger. And at any point, if you feel you need to really release something like intense or loud, you can put the pillow up to your face and just scream. This is your space, and you deserve a healthy release. And again, whenever you need, you can rest, stop squeezing, and just come back to the breath. These nice, deep inhales, breathing into the belly, creating a sense of grounded relaxation. And what I'll invite here is to once again tune in with the anger in the body and seeing what's really left of it. There may be more there, and that's totally fine. And you might also notice that it's starting to fade or become less powerful because we've released some of it. And now I'll invite you to, as you listen to that anger, to the feelings of what's still there, to pay attention to it and return to these releasing exercises. So squeezing the pillow, grunting, or making any noise. And when you feel ready, you can scream into the pillow or grunt into the pillow as loudly as you want. And each time after you grunt, just returning to the awareness of your body and what anger is actually there, if any. And through this process, we can have a conversation with ourselves. A conversation of listening, asking, what do you need? What are you ready to let go of? And then responding by answering to that request. So what I'll invite now is just any final release that you feel is healthy. There might be tears. A lot of the time underneath our anger is sadness. And when you feel ready, you can put the pillow back down, or if it's comforting, you can keep it in your lap or on top of you if you're lying down. And now we're just going to let the body rest. So I'll invite you to place a hand over the heart and a hand over the belly. Just to breathe fully, breathing into the belly, letting the breath rise into the chest at the top of the inhale. And then letting the breath easily leave the body without effort. And again, you might choose to let out a sigh. Or any noise that feels supportive. And just noticing if there's any tension being held in the shoulders or the neck. relaxing it as best you can. Each exhale is an opportunity to let the body relax, to let go, to rest. And just letting the mind be silent here, or quiet. So you can come back to these practices anytime. It's healthy to be with anger that's been building up. And what you'll notice is that the more you do this and then let go of the anger that you've been holding on to, the less it will show up as a projection in your day-to-day life. And so through this process, you become free. Thank you for joining me.